Hey guys, Buster1390 here, and welcome to, a introductory video to some new content I'm considering putting up on my channel. I've looked at my sort of calendar and the release dates from of the games I plan on playing and playthroughing, quote unquote, and I noticed there's a big gap between the games currently out and the games that I'm planning to make videos on. So what I decided to do was try my hand at a bit of anime and manga reviewing. Manga to start off with, but this isn't going to be the mainstream manga, so it won't be your Bleach, One Piece, Naruto, although I do read those and read those series. I just don't at the moment feel 100% confident in my viewing capability at the moment, because as you know, this channel's for the past 4, 5 months, 6 months conservatively, I've just been focusing on gaming videos, mainly Japanese import games and anything on that kind of nature. So I don't feel like it's straying too far from the main focus of channel, but yeah, so yeah, I'll be doing that. So sorry, I got a bit off track there. The first series I plan on reviewing is a series that I first watched I'd like to say about 8 years ago as an anime. It was on Cartoon Network here in Australia. It was called Zatch Bell. Now I really like the series. The dub, I have gone back and watched the subbed anime. It is the sub is somewhat better than the dub, as you'd expect, but I mean, it's not monumentally better. It's just there's just some censorship issues, like with the there's a few musical numbers in there by one of the main characters that the lyrics of one of his most prolific songs has been changed significantly. So the meanings are, well, the interpretations rather than the meanings are completely different. But we'll get into that as the reviews hopefully progress. Before I go a bit further, I'll just also explain that if this series doesn't get too much of a positive, if I don't get, what I'm trying to say is, if I don't get positive feedback from the reviews, I might consider stopping them, or I might not. I might just continue them because I like making them. I'm not sure at this point, but yeah. So yeah, like I said, the series, or the dubbed anime series was called Zatch Bell, but the manga series it's based off and the Japanese anime was called Konjiki Gash Bell, which I think translates to like golden hair or golden gash bell or something to that effect. So yeah, it was a really great series, and I really liked I really like it, and I've just considered rereading, well, not rereading, reading the manga, seeing the main differences, and I figured I needed some more content on my channel, so I'd do this. So yeah, so now that I've done a bit of an introduction, we'll get into the review side of the review side of the video. So the first bit of the chapter sees us, we'll just sees yeah, okay, sorry, just, yeah, anyway, the first bit of the chapter just shows us, well, the first couple panels just show us a sort of mysterious boy flying on what looks like to be an eagle or a hawk, but actually no, we later find out it is a eagle. He even says, "Oh, thanks for carrying me all this way, Mr. Eagle." So yeah, he's he's being carried by this random sort of eagle, and he's it's never really fully explained, but for some reason he's just naked. So he's flying on this eagle naked in the middle of the night, and then the next sort of page, scene, panel, whatever you want to call it, we are introduced to one of the main protagonists, which, for the sake of this series and review, because I've seen both the Japanese sub and dubbed animes, the name kind of differs. In the dub, they just call the protagonist, well, his full name's Kimimaro Takamine, and for simplicity's sake, the dub just calls him Kyo. So if I just I'm just gonna probably call him Kyo for the rest of this series, just because it's simple and easy, and yeah, but anyway, we're introduced to Kyo, and the first kind of scene we see him in, he's being ordered by his mother to go to school because he hasn't been in, I believe it was a few months or weeks. Oh yeah, double check that, but yeah, hasn't been for a long time, and he seems to have the sort of superiority complex where he sees everyone else being beneath him. Well, he even kind of states that. He says, why should I go to school with such simpletons, or something along those lines. So he even kind of confirms himself in the first kind of few pages. But yeah, so he's got that superiority complex, sorry about that. And then he says that he has no friends, where his mum sort of interjects and says, well, how are you going to make friends if you never go to school? Anyway, so they have this sort of argument, they go back and forth, and then out of nowhere we have the same boy we saw in the first page fly outside the window with this giant eagle just sitting there naked looking at him, and he reprimands Kyo for talking to his mother in such a rude manner. And at first Kyo's like, who the hell are you? And like the boy introduced himself as, hi, I'm Gash Bell, or if you watch the dub, Zatch Bell, either or. But anyway, he introduced himself, And so introduced himself, and then the first thing Kyo notices when this kid introduces himself is that he's just stark naked. So after a bit of back and forth about him being naked and whatnot, it moves on to a bit of explanation about why the child's here. So Gash gives Kyo a letter from his father, who's a archaeology professor in England, and it basically explains how Kyo's father found this young boy in the woods, almost dead, and he sent Gash there to sort of make him more social and to sort of bring him out of his shell, which Zach is quite grateful to Kyo's father for saving him, so he's quite happy to do so. So that's why, well, we find out that's why Gash is there. So after he explains all this and how Gash is there to train Kyo, Kyo then goes into a rage and goes into a rage and goes on to say, why should I be trained by this kid, right? And as he's saying that, Gash tries to get Kyo to read this mysterious red book he has with him that his father also outlines in the letter that's got some mysterious. So he gives the book to Kyo, and Kyo is just not having a bar of it. He's just, again, why should I listen to you? You're not the boss of me, that kind of stuff. And as he does that, he's about to sort of take a swing at Gash, and he even says in like an inner monologue, I'll punch him and then I'll throw him out of the room. And as he does that, this giant sort of flash of lightning comes out from Gash's mouth, and gives like, what the hell just happened? And then sort of does a little skip where then they're down in the kitchen, and Kyo is again sort of objecting to Gash being there and sort of telling his mother why he doesn't need Gash's help and why did his father send him, and she just says basically, oh no, he's this young boy, you gotta be nice to him, and your father sent him for a reason, and this and that. And so in a roundabout way, in the end, Gash and Kyo's mother convince him to go to school, mainly to escape Gash anyway, who's there. So he goes to school, and as we find out, he's not very popular at his school, probably due to his sort of superiority complex. So he's not well liked, and is seen as a bit of a know-it-all. So even by the teacher, we find out which is evident when the teacher asked him to do like a simple maths equation in class, and Kyo solves it in sort of a condescending manner. So yeah, that happens, and then we're introduced to this girl named Mizuno, and again, there's a little bit of thing here where I may refer to Mizuno as Susie, because she's called Susie in the dub, and that was the video I watched first, the series I watched first, so I could revert back to calling her Susie. But if I call Susie Mizuno, Susie, that's who I'm referring to. But yeah, so yeah, we're introduced to Mizuno, and she's sort of introduced as like a ditzy sort of character that's kind of oblivious to everything, and she seems to sort of take a liking to Kyo despite him not really showing any interest in her at all. And we find out apparently Kyo had tutored her in maths at one point, and she explains, well, when you tutored me in maths, you helped me, you made it seem so clear, you made even, I believe she says, I could be paraphrasing, but even an idiot like me look smart, and I felt smart. So yeah, anyway, so that happens, and then as he's sort of being reprimanded, sort of Gash sort of pop. Oh no, then he says, well, you know, you don't want to be friends with me because I'll just bring you down. Everyone else thinks I the same way of me, why don't you, etc. And then Gash comes out of nowhere and says, well, look, you're being a idiot, so to speak. This girl's trying to be your friend and you're just shooting her down point blank. So he reprimands her, and then we see Gash and Kira go out into like the courtyard, and well, they're near the back end of the courtyard or somewhere, or the back of the building, and Gash explains that he's got a plan for Kyo to make friends. So this plan's called the Great Hero Plan, or the Hero Mergers Plan, something like that. But it essentially revolves around Kyo making friends or standing up to the delinquents around his school, and sort of beating up the bullies, and thereby making friends with people because he beat up the bullies. Essentially that's his plan. But which Kyo's just not having a bar of. He's just saying, no, I'm not doing that. It's a bad idea. And then Gash persists and says, you know, yeah, it'll be great, you'll be friends with everyone. But so then Kyo does something pretty sly. He tricks Zash by pretty much saying, oh, okay then, you're right, there's this bully called Maru, and like he beats up people on the top of the school roof for their lunch money, and we should team up and beat him. And Gash, being the naive kid that he is, I believe he is 5 or 6, is like, yeah, let's beat him out. So he believes every word Kyo says, and so yeah, they come up with this plan, and Kyo has no intention of doing it, obviously. But so next thing we see is Zach and Mizno on the roof, and this Ken Murray guy is trying to rough up Mizno for her lunch money, pretty much. And like initially she says, oh, okay, I'll give you the money, and Gash was like, no, wait, don't give this money to the blockhead. Kiyomaru and I will stop him, and he basically scoffs and says, he's not coming, he's not going to defend you, the only existence he cares about is his own. And Gash just sits there and denies it, and yeah, just flat out denies it. And he then yeah, he flat out denies it. And then we see like Kenmo just continually saying Kira's not coming, Kira's not coming, and then he starts to basically wail on Gash, hitting him, kicking him, all that type of stuff. And Mizuno wants to give him the money just so it'll all stop, and Gash's like, no, Kiyomaru will come, and it'll be great. But he obviously doesn't come. He had no intention to come. But then we sort of go back to seeing Kiyomaru, and he's sort of reflecting on like how stupid Gash was for believing in him and everything like that. And then he starts to kind of have a change of heart because he sees how kind he is and how genuine he is and wanting to help. So he goes up to the roof, and well, he goes to the entrance of the roof, and yeah. Now I'm just gonna quickly backtrack because I did forget a quite important quite important detail in chapter that I will get better at this as I go along, but keep in mind this is my first quote-unquote review. So basically, early in class, Kyo was looking at Zatcha's red book and noticing that he couldn't read any of the characters that in the book, like it was in some different dialect, and then he noticed that he could read part of the book that was in red characters, so he couldn't read the rest of the book. He could only read the red characters, and the bit he could read said the first spell, Zaker, or Zaker, and yeah, so that's just more detail I forgot to mention, but yeah, okay. Anyway, back to the roof. So Kira's at the roof, or the entrance to go onto the roof, and he's just hearing everything Kane saying about him, about yeah, he only cares about himself, and no one wants him at school, and no one will care if he just left. And then Gashford said something interesting. He mentioned that, I believe it was his Kyo's dad or his mum mentioned to him that when Kyo was in like elementary school, he had a lot of friends, and when he went to middle school, that started to change because kids started to notice how smart he was and sort of started to resent him for it. And Gash basically says, well, what has Kyo done? He hasn't changed. It's just everyone around him who has changed. And yeah, what's he ever done to you? Nothing. And it's sort of, after hearing this and after hearing every positive thing Gash says about him, you see Kyo just burst out, Kyo ready to sort of step out onto the roof. But before he does that, Kane says like, oh, where is he now? And Gash says something quite interesting, and I guess something you'd expect a 6-year-old to be able to come up with this type of excuse. He says something, and this obviously wasn't in the anime, but he says something along the lines of, oh, Kyo's not here, he must be taking a dump, pretty much. And he says, oh, it must be as long as an anaconda and this, and basically Kyo comes out and says, "Oh, no one craps like that." Well, he doesn't say crap, but you get my drift. But yeah, no one craps like that, and they're like, "Oh, Kyo, you're here, and now you can beat up this guy." So basically, there's a little moment where they're like, "Oh, you came, and yeah, because you believed in me and alright." So Kyo's all pumped to go fight this Kanmaru guy, but he's kind of not the most physically strong guy, so he gets the crap beaten out of him, and basically he gets crap beaten out of him, and he can't win, and Gash and Mizuno are like, "Yeah, come on, you can beat him," and he's like, "No, I can't." And then just before, again, Mizuno tries to give Kenmaru the money, then after she sees how beaten he is and after he says you can't do it. But then Gash and Kyo both stop her and say, "Well, no, we will beat this guy." And then Kyo remembers the first spell he saw in the book, and then he sort of tries to retrace his steps. Just wanting to find to figure out why the lightning, like why Gash basically shot out lightning out of his mouth, and he sort of realizes that when he went to sort of kick Zatch out, he said a key phrase. He basically said in a roundabout way, Zakare, the first spell, without knowing, and that's how he shot lightning. So he had the idea of using the spell on Kanmaru. So he uses the spell, and well, no, he grabs the book and tells Gash, "Yeah, we're gonna beat him with your power," and yeah, but sorry about that, just something happened outside, but yeah, but so he goes, "Yeah, we're gonna beat him with your power," and he goes, this is mentioned in the earlier in chapter, that I think I mentioned it, even if I didn't, I'll mention it, that Zatch had no idea about the whole him shooting out lightning thing, and Kyo notes that he does it like he goes unconscious. So yeah, when he fires it, so he says Zakare, and as he does that, he notices Zatch is like gonna find the wrong way, so quickly turns Zatch's head, and it pretty much, the lightning bolt shoots out at Kanmaru, and it destroys the whole building. Like, the last panel is just about the destruction of the building, and you just see Kanmaru like lying back, like, what the hell just happened? And yeah, the chapter basically ends on seeing the destruction and seeing like Zatch and Mizuno, sorry about that again. Gash and Mizuno, Gash, Mizuno and Kyo, with like soot on their faces and their hair standing up from the electricity, and then it sort of has Kyo narrating a letter to his father saying, "Who is Gash? He's a nice kid, but I'm scared as hell as to what may happen." So what may happen in the future. So pretty good chapter overall. I mean, it'll be interesting to see going forward how Gash's powers develop, and what we'll eventually learn about him and like why is he there and his purpose, and yeah, but overall, great first chapter, and I recommend you guys read it on whatever translation site you use. I'm sure you can find it. It should just be under, if you just type in Gash Bell, it should, or even Gash, it should be there. But yeah, overall great chapter, and yeah, so lastly, I just have to apologise about how long this video is. I mean, it's half an hour, and that's pretty long even by the proper manga reviewer standards. But I did have that whole 5-minute introduction thing, so I will sort of narrow it down, and this was the pilot chapter, so it was substantially longer, so my reviews won't be as long, but yeah, so overall great chapter, and please let me know what you guys thought about it in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.